sometimes it's the perception of I'm so important because I'm in so many meetings, I'm so indispensable. And I think when you first start working, certainly for me anyway, the higher number of meetings you have, the more important that you felt. And I hope that's starting to kind of go away, that people are seeing that it's not just about the number of meetings that you have, or sometimes the meetings that you're attending, you don't necessarily need to be at them. But I suppose a challenge to you is looking at, and have a look at your calendar, you know, when you finish listening to this podcast, or if you're in a position that you can have a look now, have a look at your calendar and see how much time of your week, or the last couple of weeks, or the last month is actually spent in meetings. And you might be surprised that it's much higher than what you thought. You know, consider whether or not this is a good use of your time. So the meetings that you attended, was that something that benefited you? Did that empower you or enable you to do your job better in some way? I think if you are struggling with the amount of actual work that you have to do, the first point really is about telling someone what you have on. So letting people know that this is everything. And sometimes as managers, people might forget that just how much you're working on at any given time, and how long each individual thing takes to do as well. So just let someone know if you feel like you have too much work on. Let someone know. I've definitely been in that position in the past, when on occasion it has fallen on deaf ears, let's say, where I've had I could see a much higher workload than other people in the team. And because I was working really efficiently, I was being handed more work essentially, which was detrimental to me and my own well-being. I can see that now. But at the time, you know, I really struggled with how to speak up for myself and how to thing to do around workload. I think it's really important is defining what good enough looks like. So I think there's this tendency to keep working on something. So there is this principle where if you have, say, 2 weeks to work on something, and I fall for this all the time, I much prefer short, tight deadlines. But if you have 2 weeks to work on something, the time expands. The amount of time that you invest in what it is that you're working on tends to expand. The other thing in relation to this is that you might spend additional couple of hours perfecting something that doesn't really need any additional work on it. So that's taking up time as well. But if you have a really clear definition of what the steps are involved in what it is that you need to do, so that you can address those kind of, you know, the way I think is in shorter type of deadlines. Other people maybe prefer those longer deadlines, but then also having a really clear definition of, well, what does good enough actually look like? And we don't have to do additional work on this to make it even better. We don't have to modify anything on it.